I hope you are seeing my hands-on lab for Amazon DynamoDB. Thanks to our awesome Ashish, who already explained in a very nice details what is DynamoDB and how you are creating tables on the console. So I will just complement with this workshop, which is publicly available, and I'm happy to copy and paste in our chat, which is going to be in a second. And also you can access this through our resources section in BESA programs website. You can go ahead, walk through the whole sections on your own time, no pressure, but we'll just today cover some basics, the first bit and a little bit of the second side of the lab, just for the time and kind of give you a feeling how to create the table by not using the console, because Ashish already used the console, so I just want to complement it. All right, so let's get started. This is one of my favorite labs, to be honest, because it has all the things that you need as a first step to focus on the part that is interesting for you, specifically like DynamoDB. So what we will see in this lab is a CloudFormation template, which we will run. And then it will create a VPC, public subnet and a private subnet for accessing Amazon DynamoDB through AWS Cloud9. So this is the architectural diagram that shows what is going to happen in the next sections. Let's go ahead. We see that for the prerequisites, you'll need an AWS account and a user identity with access to the following resources. You'll set up your account, and please don't forget, once you complete the workshop, you will need to follow the cleanup section so you are not charged unnecessarily for the workshop that you were just testing. Let's look at the setup part. So there is a CloudFormation template, as I said. This is why it's my favorite workshop. It's because it's really easy. Like, instead of you going and creating the VPC and subnets and route tables, it does all for you, where you can just focus on the creation of DynamoDB table and adding data and seeing how this thing in general works. So go ahead, download this CloudFormation template to your local machine, and then you will see that it will create one public subnet, 3 private subnets, and AWS Cloud9 environment deployed in a public subnet. So once you downloaded the CloudFormation stack, it says that you need to create the stack in the CloudFormation console. That's what we are going to do. So we're going to CloudFormation console. If you are completely new to AWS console, you just need to type CloudFormation in the search engine of AWS console, and here you'll see CloudFormation. Once you click on CloudFormation, it will open up this landing page. It has, of course, different regions. So yesterday I went ahead and walk through the workshop just to make sure that it is working and what I'm going to talk about today. So I went ahead and uploaded the CloudFormation template here by creating a stack. We're going to do it as well, but this is just to show you how it's going to look like at the end. So I'm just going to change the region, just not to confuse you in terms of setting up the creating a stack. So as it says here, we need to create a stack. We're going to upload the template file. You need to choose the file, which is going to be the file that we just downloaded, DynamoDB Labs, and then you're going ahead next, and then you need to specify the stack name. DynamoDB. So the rest we will keep it as it is. Fantastic. Like this. All right. IAM permissions and all the rest of it, I will keep it again as default. I'm not going to change anything. And then we will go ahead, basically just submit. And just to give you a heads up, this is for testing purposes. It is not, repeating, it is not for production, because you need to make sure that for the security reasons, everything you do is completely secure, not accessible to internet if your business requires so. So whatever we're doing in this workshop is completely for testing purposes, just to give you a hands-on feelings of how things are working, and not to focus on creation of VPC, the route tables, etc. This CloudFormation template gives us really good starting point. Right, we are receiving an error, which is fantastic, which always happens with my live demos. That is the reason I already created one in advance. So we can actually go ahead and see why it is failing. So we can see here the following resource failed to create, resource creation cancel. So even if you received an error, so we're not going to dive deep and fix it right now. What I'm going to do, I will basically roll back to the CloudFormation stack that I created yesterday, which worked perfectly well, and we are going to kind of walk through that specific CloudFormation, which was completely successful.
So just Jamila, one thing which I also get caught up with, like there is a default limit of 5 VPCs. Probably you already have 5 VPCs created, and
Yep.
that's why it is failing. So it is always related to VPC limit when you are deploying multiple VPC. So that is one reason I could think of.
Thank you, Ash. Absolutely, I had exactly the same issue in my previous accounts, but to be honest, I don't recall that I have 5 VPCs in North California. But who knows what was going on in my brain when I was building a demo. Cool. Okay, we're going to roll back to US East Ohio region where my stacks. Okay, we understood that it didn't launch. We understood where my CloudFormation stack was completed yesterday. So it says here the template builds a VPC with 1 public and 3 private subnets, and it also spins up an instance for AWS Cloud9. All right, let's go ahead and see what the workshop is saying, what we need to do. So here we give the name, we keep everything as default, and then we're going to see on the outputs tab what's been created. If we go to DynamoDB Labs, and on the output tabs, we can see that route table ID private A, private B, private C. This is the subnets created, VPC created, all looks similar as in the workshop. And then we need to go ahead and launch the AWS Cloud9. So what we're going to do, it will we need to navigate to the Cloud9 Management Console and choose to open IDE on the DynamoDB Labs. So let's do it. Cloud9. Okay. All right. Let's see if we have any questions in the chat. Right. I see James is rocking. Parna is rocking. All right. Probably it shows the reason. All right. I see happens to only those who do it. Okay, cool. So far, colleagues are rocking it in the chat. But if you have any questions that you want me to kind of read it out loud, feel free to let me know. All right. Okay. So yeah, we are in the cloud, AWS Cloud9 landing page. So we are going to open Cloud9 to start our table, DynamoDB table creation using CLI. So here you already see I done some of the work yesterday, which we can walk through, and I I will explain in details what it does. So instance launch Cloud9 environment is there. So the run, so we're starting to run the AWS SDS get caller identity that your AWS, just to make sure that your AWS credentials have been properly configured. If you run this, you will receive something similar that you see on the screen. I ran it on my site. I got all these details, but I don't want to show it right now for security reasons, because this session is recorded, and yeah, we don't want any unnecessary security issues on our side. Then we are going to move to create the DynamoDB table. There are, of course, several options to create the table. One of them is what Ashish showed you on the console. You can go ahead, just give the name of for the table, give the like primary key ID, give all the resources that you want or you need for your table, and then you create a table in DynamoDB console. What is another option is through Cloud9, for example, to create table using these kind of commands. So if you want to, we will now create a table, and the subsequent step load data into them. So based on the sample data from the developer guide. So you copy the 4 create table commands with wait commands and paste them in your command prompt. And then each table will finish the creating automatically. So there is a lovely copy to clipboard button, which will copy automatically. And then you go, you go here, and you basically copy and paste, and it will go ahead and create a table with the wait part. Once the table is created, you will need to load the sample data. Then you go ahead to download and unzip the sample data. Again, you copy and then paste, and then run the commands there. I already did that in advance. I'm not sure if it's gonna work or not. Maybe yes. Let's replace. Yeah, because I've done it previously already, the same commands in the same region with the same table. That's why it gives me additional questions if I want to replace the table, for example. What is the replace forum.json, replace product catalog.json, and I'll just say yes for the sake of saying it, because to be honest, it's the same thing. Okay, so all right, it seems okay. And then based on the workshop, we will need to go ahead and create the load the sample data, batch write item CLI. So again, we are going to copy and paste. Again, I have no idea. Yeah, it gives unprocessed items, which is exactly what is expected from the workshop. And then, as it says, the sample output should look like this, that we already saw. And then you are free to go ahead and explore the DynamoDB table, what's been created, and read the sample data. You can read the sample data using your command line. This is your table, basically. Let's go ahead. So items, title, you see price, brand, description, color, product category, blah, blah, blah. And we see different kind of the input of the table. What we can also get, we can run AWS DynamoDB get item if you need to extract specific parts of the table and the key ID, which will give you kind of less. So this is the kind of the extracted part of the data instead of getting whole data from the table. This is the extraction of it. and then you can run the previous command and add some of the other options like consistent read, projection expression, return consume capacity, etc. So the return values will look like this. And then what you can also do, you can basically play around and ask to run get item with product catalog table with this key with return capacity total. Like you can work around and give as many commands and as many details as you want. What I really want to focus now is to go to DynamoDB table and to see how the table looks like on the console. All right, so this is basically our table that's been created, which is a forum, product catalog, reply, and thread. So basically those are the tables that it was asking me, do you want to replace? And I said yes, because yesterday I created them, today I was creating again, so it got confused. But basically it is the same thing that I was doing yesterday. So if we go to product catalog, we can explore the items. We can see what kind of items we have in our product catalog table. Okay, so we can see that bicycle type, we can see authors. For example, we can see the brand, the color, the description, you can see the dimension, right? So this is the kind of, and the dummy data that we uploaded, unzipped from the public internet, and then we downloaded it back into DynamoDB. As I said at the beginning, it is not for production, and it is just for the testing purposes, just to kind of give you a feeling how to work with DynamoDB and how to create tables using the console that Ashish showed you, and also using the CLI. Cool. So as we see here, we have like several tables with some of the data points inside. We can update this, update things here, or using the CLI as well. We have indexes, monitor, global tables, which we didn't kind of set from the beginning in terms of global tables. We can also have set up the backup, point in time recovery. You can go ahead, turn it on, but currently my table and the data is not protected, which is absolutely fine. I don't want to incur additional cost. What else? Monitoring, we can view all in CloudWatch and see how our table is performing, and see like the usage pattern and write throttled requests, read throttled requests, etc. In more details about CloudWatch will be covered by my amazing colleague Giuseppe next week. So if you're interested in observability, more details, feel free to tune in next week as well. But yeah, so we have 5 minutes, which is unusual for us. Usually we overrun the time, but this was basically the part of the workshop, very simple, very kind of basic part I wanted to cover. Of course, you're more than welcome to go ahead and read in more details of this workshop and keep building and creating the further, as it says in the workshop, because it has the backup part. You can explore the console part as well. And also you can look at the relational modeling and migration. While you're building, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in our LinkedIn group. I'm sure lots of like-minded people will be able to also answer and support with your questions. But yeah. Ashish?
Thank you, Jamila. So yeah, this is interesting, and CloudFormation is a really nice tool so that you can focus on what is exactly required rather than sending time into creating VPCs and all. So leverage that service. And cloud is all about automation. So it is some service which should be always you should be experting on, or you should be knowing more about it. So use CloudFormation. DynamoDB has lots of things which you could use. So I hope that everyone is following along and understanding lots of stuff. And James answered like tons of question into it. He also recommended books. So check for
Nice.
that. And let me now thank all of you, James and Michelle also, so that we can call it a session, and then we would be again coming back into the next time. So I'll add you, James, to the stream, and then maybe next time we can have more insight from James. And as James mentioned, he is thinking about publishing a YouTube series on DynamoDB. James, you want to talk about it, when it will be there and what it is? Mute. You are on mute.
There we go. You'd think after doing this for this long, I'd remember to take myself off mute by now, wouldn't you? No, so last month I did a poll on Twitter about what content people would like to see on YouTube, and DynamoDB came second behind some .NET modernization stuff. So yeah, probably throughout April, maybe into May, I'll do a deep dive from an application development perspective, of course, probably with examples in .NET, maybe Rust, I'm not sure yet, to go through like data modeling, how to model for Dynamo, how to build against Dynamo, because I found when I first started using Dynamo, it's really easy just to throw data into Dynamo because it's schemaless. You can just put anything in there, and then you really quickly start to hit problems if you do that. So how to think about your data, how to model your data, all that stuff from an app dev perspective.
Nice. Yeah, that would be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I want to also talk about, James, what other content you have on your YouTube channel. So feel free to share it here. Everyone would get benefited by a great mind like you. And you put a lot of effort. I've seen some of your videos. You put a lot of efforts in that. So share that link and let us know what else is there on that YouTube channel.
So it's a little bit niche. So it's mostly serverless .NET content. A little bit of Java content on there around SnapStart, one of the features of Lambda, how to run Spring Boot on Lambda, and then I've started doing content on Rust, the programming language Rust, and how to use Rust with Lambda, simply because it's just incredible how fast it is. I think there was a Lambda function I wrote, and I think the cold start was about 10 milliseconds, and the execution time was about 3 milliseconds. Like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy how fast it is. So yeah, it's very app dev focused, very serverless focused, a little bit niche, but if anyone's interested, then. And if anything, if people want to see content on, like I say, it's very much from an app dev serverless perspective. But if people are interested in seeing things, reach out on Twitter, let me know on LinkedIn, however you want to get in touch. And I'm always looking for more content ideas, so reach out.
Thank you. Thanks, James. That is interesting. All right. Anyone, any final questions, anything which we could help you with? I'll put James' YouTube channel link into the chat. So, into the resource section. So right now I'm displaying it on here. So check this channel. You would find a lot of great content there. And I will include this also in the resource section so you can revisit it if the need be. And be mindful of the next week, the time change. Now, for some of you in Europe, maybe it would be still the same because you may also observe a daylight change by that time. But for others, be aware that UK is going through a daylight change and it may jeopardize a little bit of your schedule depending on what you have planned for. So check what will be the suitable time zone. We would stick to 9 a.m. UK time zone for delivering these sessions, and you may have to do a little bit of conversion at your own time zone. So just be aware about that factor. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. And content track on architectural pattern, that would be interesting. Yeah, that is good thing. Yeah, so good to have a lot of content coming up, and give us some ideas if you feel that there is some areas you struggle in job interviews or maybe into your day-to-day life. And if we know about it, we would be happy to include all these stuff into the next session. So hope everyone will have daylight saving change effect from Saturday or Sunday. I think it's 26th.
It's Sunday. The time won't change. So for next week, it'll be the same time as this week.
Okay, good. Then we are saved.
Sunday, does it? Next week will be okay. The week after will be.
Week after that.
That's a really good point.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right then. Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for joining and thanks for answering the question. And I hope everyone has enjoyed. I'll let you enjoy the rest of the weekend. And if you enjoyed something, feel free to share, feel free to like, subscribe to the channel so that more people would know about it. And we would be happy to help as much as we can. Thank you so much. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.